of shaping EU foreign policy. Delighted to have her with us here at Bled today. Ladies and gentlemen, the EU High Representative and Vice President of the European Commission, Kaja Kallas, ladies and gentlemen. High Representative, wonderful to have you with us here in Bled. Not surprisingly, we're going to start this conversation with Ukraine. You have, of course, built a very strong reputation as a strong voice on Ukraine, and your unwavering support for Ukraine has actually earned you a spot on the Kremlin's wanted list. 3.5 years into this war, you speak to your counterparts, you speak to 27 EU foreign ministers. 3.5 years into it, do you see signs of war fatigue among EU member states?
Of course I see signs of war fatigue amongst our public, and this is very, very understandable. At the same time, we don't have war, so why are we tired of the war as we are not fighting the bombs every day? But I see absolute resolve amongst the European countries still. Also European leaders being together with President Zelensky in the White House and really delivering the messages, reading Putin and his actions the way they're presented. So even if we are over 3 years into this war, then our unity still stands.
Yeah, you were just attending a meeting of EU foreign ministers in Copenhagen, and you're saying the resounding feedback that you're getting is we are still very firmly behind Ukraine 3.5 years into this war.
No, this is true, and this is reflected by our actions as well. I mean, we are working on the 19th package of sanctions regarding what more can we do to pressure Russia, because everybody understands that this is the only thing that Putin really takes seriously. Why he wanted to have this meeting in Alaska was to really postpone the sanctions threat that was coming from United States. So he really doesn't want the sanctions. And if we look the effects on Russian economy, we see that the sanctions really work. Yes, of course, we need to do more because the war is still going on, but the economy is not doing well.
Yeah, interestingly enough, you say amongst the deciders, amongst the politicians, amongst the leaders, you don't detect a war fatigue, perhaps amongst the European public a bit. Interestingly enough, there's a very recent Golob poll, which you, I'm sure, are very familiar with, which states that 69% of Ukrainians want a negotiated end to the war as soon as possible, as opposed to 24% who want to continue fighting until victory. So war fatigue is not just a European issue. Clearly, it's also very relevant and pertinent amongst the Ukrainian public.
I mean, this is, they are living under bombs every day. 3.5 years under bombs. You want this to stop. Recently I read a book by Erik Larsen, The Splendid and the Vile. It's about Churchill and his family under the bombardment of Nazis and the London bombardment. And also the parallels that we have today with this is really, very much the parallels are there. And it is showing very well how people, of course, you can't sleep. Your friends are getting killed. Every family is affected. Everything. Of course, you're tired. You want this war to stop, and of course, Europeans want this war to stop as well. But what we want is that this is stopped for good, not that there's a pause, so that Russia can gather itself and then move on a larger scale, like we did, or like we saw with the Minsk agreement. agreements and then the attacks that came later on. So that is what we want. And I didn't say that there is no fatigue amongst the leaders. There is still, they are all democratically elected leaders. And of course, democratically elected leaders are bound to the public's opinion as well, and very much tied to what the public is feeling.
Of course, they have to take the temperature at the end of the day of what the public wants. Interestingly enough, coinciding with these numbers I've just shared, there are diplomatic efforts now underway, very much led by Washington, very much led by the US President Donald Trump.